Hi, so I'm going to demonstrate here how to install PHP manually from scratch on Windows Server 2016. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I tried to install it via the web platform installer and it was not successful. But also because the web platform installer only has version PHP 5.4 on there. I want to put in a newer version. So let me get started here. So I'm going to bring up my cheat sheet. And the first thing I'm going to do is install CGI. So you'll need this because PHP runs off of CGI. So when I go into my server manager, I'm going to click on Add Roles. So I already have the web server IIS installed on here. And you'll notice I do have IIS installed. And I installed a lot of the sort of default features here. But you'll notice if I expand on application development, I don't have CGI. So that's important. If you don't have CGI installed, this will not work. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And while that installs, let me talk about the next item. So I have the link here to download PHP. And when I bring that up, it comes to here. Now, the version you want to choose is the non-thread safe one. So I'm going to demo this with the x32-bit x86 version. And you'll notice here this is compiled using Visual C++ 14. And that's important because later on there might not be a dependency. So I'll demonstrate that also. Your installation might be missing some dependencies that you need. And I will demonstrate that because my installation here will be missing those dependent components. So while it's doing that, okay, so it looks like CGI has installed, so I'm going to close out the server manager and I'm going to proceed to my downloads. So I already downloaded my PHP version 7.0 and I'm going to expand this. And I'm going to place it in the root C directory. So I'm going to expand this out, and that is the folder I want. I'm just going to copy this folder into my C directory, and I'm going to name it PHP7. And I'm going to give it the IIS permissions. So I'm just going to go into Properties. And you might want to buckle down the security, but for demonstration purposes, I am simply going to put in the most liberal security here. So I'm going to say yes. And I'm primarily doing this because I'm going to install WordPress on here, so I need PHP as a prerequisite. So after I've done that, I am going to put the file, so let me edit the PHP file first. So you'll notice there's no PHP file, php.ini file, so what I'm going to do is copy the production version and rename it php.ini. And now I'm going to edit it with my favorite editor. And what I'm going to do here is enable some of these variables. So you'll see I have a list here. So I'll have all of these instructions in the description area. So I'm just going to search for this. And uncomment this out. And this is supposed to be 0. Make sure to save the file. Got the force redirect here is also 0. Now the extension directory. Uncomment this. The error log. And because I put this in PHP 7 is my root directory, make sure to save that. And now for the time zone, and I'll be setting it just the UTC time zone. UTC. And now I have to comment out the extensions, and because I am going to install PHP on here, MySQL on here, I will be uncommenting out the MySQL. So those are the extensions that I will want to load. And make sure to save the file. So the next thing I'm going to do here is set the path variable. So I'm going to set the path variable here. I'm going to right click on the start menu and click on system, the advanced system settings, environmental variables, and I am going to add a new, and I will have PHP 7 is where I put the executables. And at this point, I have to set up my IIS settings now. So if I bring up IIS, highlight the server name, go to Handler Mappings, and now I will be adding a module mapping, all.php. And I'm going to search for my fastcgi here. So this is available, this fastcgi module is available because I installed it in the beginning. I installed the CGI module. And now I am going to be choosing the executable, which is in my PHP 7 folder. And I will be searching for PHP CGI. And I will merely name it fastcgi. Click OK. And when it prompts me, I'll say yes. And you'll notice the entry makes it in here. Click again on the server, and I am going to choose my default documents, and I am going to add index.php. Now at this point, I am all set. I am going to test the command line now. So I'm going to bring up PowerShell, and I am going to test and see if PHP is in my path by typing this. And you'll notice it is indeed not in my path yet, because I have to log out, but let me check that. So I am going to go into command shell, echo the path here, and you'll notice it's not in my path yet. So let me log out first. So what I'm going to do is log out. So I'm going to type shutdown, and I am going to just simply log out, and I will be logging back in. So I'm going to log back into that server. And my path variable should be set now. Okay, so let me test that out here. Once again, I'm going to type in php-info, and you'll notice it did nothing. Now that's a bad sign, and that's what I wanted to demonstrate. So this is because I am missing a dependency, yet it did not throw an error or actually warn me. And this was somewhat hard to debug, so I'm going to demonstrate here how to solve that issue. So I'm going to go into PHP 7 here, and I am simply going to double click on any one of these, and you'll notice there's an error message that comes up, and that's because I'm missing VC runtime 1.14.0.dll. And why is that relevant? So let me bring up my cheat sheet here and demonstrate that to you. So if I go into my downloads, let me bring up that cheat sheet. You'll notice here I have a link to download the dependencies. So you'll see here that you possibly need the Visual Studio or Visual C++ redistributable. So if you click on this link here, it brings you to downloading the dependencies. But also, if I go back to my PHP link, what you will find here is that keep in mind that in the beginning here it says this was compiled by Visual C++ 14, and it's the x86 version, so you have to keep that in mind. So when I am scrolling down here and downloading the dependencies, I want the VC14 one. So let me click on this link here. And you'll see it's the Visual Studio 2014 that I want. And what you want to do is click on download and choose both of these and just install both. So I already downloaded this, and I am simply going to install both here. So I'm going to install the x64 version. Now the only one I really need is the 32-bit version, which is the x86 version, but I'm going to just install both because this component's actually a dependency on several. So I am going to go back to the command line now and run it, and you'll see it did something. So this is a good sign. It basically exported all the variables. And so if you go back to my cheat sheet, the command line test worked. Now the final test is to test the web page. So I have a web page here, and I am going to show you what is inside. So it's merely one statement, a one-statement web page with one PHP command. So I'm going to copy that into my IIS directory. inetpub www, and actually let me show you the file extensions here so that you could see that it's not just PHP, but it's actually .php. So there's the file extensions. So I'm going to bring up my browser, and I want to test the local host first and show you that IIS is actually running. And now I could type in my web page, test.php, and you'll notice there it is. So it has all my configuration information here, and at this point I am all set, and you'll notice there is the version number up here. So your manual installation of PHP is all set, and now you can install dependent applications such as WordPress on here, which relies on PHP. And that's really it. I hope this helped, and thank you for watching.